That's just weird. Look how cool that is. Whoa!
Hello drone racers, I'm Mark, and today on Drone Racer 101 I'm going to review the Diatone 2018 GT-M3 Normal Plus. You could also call it the Cross, but I'm going to go with Stu on this one and call it the Crucifix. But I also think it looks a lot like a sci-fi starfighter, which is just cool. It kind of looks like a B-Wing. Maybe that should be what we call it, the B-Wing. And then just to confuse everybody who doesn't watch Star Wars, that doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. Per Betaflight specs, this would be called a plus shape, and that's how it's set up in there. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. Normally when I do these reviews, I like to go through it and look at the config and get it all wired and show you all that before I fly it. But it's going to be raining for days here, and I didn't have time for that. So I did a rush job to get it ready. I got to fly it with one pack yesterday, but we're going to take a look at it first and then we'll take a look at that footage. So this is a 3-inch drone, so it fits that size of the XJB-145. There's also a True X and a Stretch X version. I have the Stretch X version. I'll be testing that shortly too. But for now, they say it's 170 millimeters this way and 110 millimeters this way, which makes it a little hard to discuss sizes, but hey, it looks cool. So that's all that matters. If you're buying this one, it's because it looks awesome. The motors are 1408 4000 kV motors. Says Edge Racing. They're really smooth, and I'll say they're really fast. There's an F4 flight controller where everything is connected here in the middle, and this stack, look at how much this thing moves. I mean, it moves around a lot. It is very well soft mounted, and it needs that because it's a very sensitive gyro in here. All the wiring is done this side, and this is maybe one of the things I didn't care for. The wiring on this side just looks a little messy to me. These wires do not need to be this long, and they end up sticking out. I would prefer if those were shorter. It would be really hard to wire. I don't want to do that, but it would be nicer on the ESC, which is a 20 amp ESC. 4-in-1. The prop doesn't catch, but it's really close. When I first got mine, my camera didn't work either. The camera's listed as a G1 Sniper CCD. But I wasn't getting any video, and following the wire back, the positive power had actually broken off of my flight controller, so it wasn't getting any power. I had to solder that back on. On that note, the other problem I had was I had a screw loose. Yeah, no, the model had a screw loose. And it actually came out in flight, and that caused me some additional problems. So when you're doing this, make sure all of your screws are tight. Go through and check all of them. This was kind of a rush job for me, so I didn't get that done in this one. I originally wanted to install an XSR-E in this, but it didn't fit in here. So I'm gonna try one of the R XSRs. I'm not sure if that'll fit yet, but that'll be a future upgrade. I want that because this is a TBS VTX with smart audio, and it's all wired up and ready to go. So I've actually already tested that. You can control that with the on-screen display, but if you want to use Lua scripts in your radio, you can't do that right now because you have to have a full telemetry receiver, and the one I wanted to use didn't fit. So instead, for now, I have a XM Plus that I connected. It fits in there really nicely, but you'll notice I only have one antenna, and that's a really weird place to put your antenna. Don't do that. What I originally did was I had antennas connected up here with zip ties that were going up, and I had them heat shrinked, and they were connected up, and they looked nice. But because this screw was loose, this piece that I had it connected to just turned. It just turned and flopped down and got caught in this prop and tore off one of the antennas and ripped those to shreds. The rain was about 3 minutes away, so I just grabbed this antenna, fit it through here, and you can see it a little bit in my flight footage, the antenna hanging out there, but I was desperate. So make sure these screws are in place. Interestingly, it even tells you in the manual, make sure all your screws are tight and even Loctite them. Apparently they didn't do that, or else I don't think that screw would have come out. But it says make sure you don't upgrade it on your own. Because this is a plus configuration, it shouldn't be bad, but they have their own build on here. So in the box you get a number of things. You get quite a few zip ties, and these are really long skinny zip ties that work pretty well as long as everything's connected down. You get the other side of an XT30 connector, so I guess that'll be a nice spare for me, but you can use that if you need to put that on your battery. Be careful with that. You do get a capacitor if you need it for filtering. I have not installed this yet since they didn't install it. I didn't install it, but after the flight we'll see. I might do that. Some extra screws and some more extra screws. Ironically, these screws are not the ones that I need. It's a machine screw that caused me problems, and they didn't give us any of those. It would have been really nice if I would have actually gotten more of the screw that I needed that caused me problems in the bag, but they didn't do that. It also came with a zip tie that I've already managed to lose somehow, and it did come with a rubber gripper for your battery here. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to fit here because it fits in there really nicely, but it's not thick enough. These screws are too thick and my battery wouldn't stick to it properly. So I actually had to add another piece of sticky on top of that to get my battery to stick very well. So you notice when I plug it in, there's no beeping. There's no buzzer on this. It just uses the motors for all of the buzzing. It's pre-configured for that. So here we've got the model in beta flight, and under ports you can see they've pre-configured everything. We have UART1 for my serial RX, and then UART3 is TBS Smart Audio, pre-configured, pre-wired, ready to go. It is a quad plus shape, so they've already taken care of that. D-Shot 600 with no motor stop. We'll talk about that in a second. Accelerometer trim is -2. This is probably the biggest custom setting that I've seen on this. 4,000, 2,000 for the gyro and PID loops. They did name it, and it is preset for S-Bus for a FrSky. On this, they have already enabled air mode and OSD and anti-gravity and dynamic filters, as one does. Under PID tuning, they have some custom PIDs. Those are really low. And they have taken care of all of your motor settings. You are on PT1 with everything set up. At least for 3.2, this is the way to go. They're probably going to all change in 3.3 soon, but for 3.2, this is the way to go right now. Modes was actually the most interesting page for me because ARM was the only thing set up here. I've added a beeper, so I had a manual beeper, but then I went to set up my normal angle and horizon mode and air mode so I can have motor stop when I take off in angle mode, and then fly line of sight in horizon mode, and land in angle mode, and they're just not here. They aren't even on the page as an option. I don't know if that's a limitation of the Plus. I don't know if it's a limitation of something else. I'll be doing an upgrade in the future to find out. But for now, it made things a little bit interesting during my test. Here in the motors, you can see another indication of the motor numbers and the order that you've got. OSD was pre-set up and was pretty good. The two that I added were the warnings and the average cell voltage. I do like to see those when things are going on. So under the CLI, this is a Fury F4 OSD board. So I've not used one of these before. This is actually my first one of these to go out and fly. I will update this, but I definitely didn't want to do that until I had a chance to fly it. I wanted to fly it right out of the box. Like their little sheet says, this is the way it is. This is the way we've configured it. Fly it this way. Good, I'll do that. I've done that. Now we'll do an update for next time. So this has one of Diatone's new standard connectors on it with filter built in. It is an XT30 connector, which caused me a little bit of a problem because I've changed most of my big ones to XT60s. In this case, I just grabbed my adapter. So I've got XT60 on both of mine, and then I can plug into an XT30, and that's probably the way I'll do it. I don't want two sets of batteries, and I made this, it's pretty strong. So then my next job was to run around like a madman and get this thing in the air.
Okay, I literally have time for one battery pack to try this before the rain starts. Ooh, I hear little oscillations on it. That's just weird. Look how cool that is. Whoa! That wasn't even full throttle. Now, this is a little weird for me. I have no angle mode, which is how I normally do these tests, but we know rate mode works, so I'm gonna call that successful and get out the goggles. Okay, we're still recording, got the goggles on. That is freaky seeing that right in front of me. I've got to get a better solution for those antennas. Whoa, it's so fast. Okay, it's weird with that it being in front. Air mode. That's why I use motor stop. Alright, so this is a terrible solution, but I will take what I can get right now just to get a flight in because it's so fast. Jeez. I'm probably going to have terrible range on it. This is freaky. It's so weird. Oh man, it's so weird seeing that motor out in front. And that's my antenna because I had to strap it to the front. I'm not even close to full throttle. Jeez Louise, it's so fast. Wow. I can't even really notice. It does feel different than a traditional X, and I don't know if I like it better or not. Hey, it took a branch hit there. Wow. It feels like I'm riding a bike almost. The angles are weird. How's my battery? It is tough on a battery though. There. All right, I got to bring it in. That's it for this review. Wish I had time for more. Wow, it's crazy.
So this thing is wicked fast. It's so fast. And I'm going to say it feels totally different in this configuration than an X. It felt to me like I was riding a motorcycle as a difference, where it wanted to stay centered, but when it would tilt, it kind of wanted to stay. I kind of liked it. I felt like I was in Tron riding a light cycle. Don't ask me why, but that's what I imagine myself doing. Partially probably because I could see the spinning motor in the front. It felt like riding a light cycle, and I liked it. I don't think this shape is going to replace my X's for the most part. This is not going to be the new innovation that takes over everything. This is just a really, really cool looking drone that you can take out and people say, what? I definitely want to fly it some more, but it's going to be a few days before the rain stops, and I did not want to miss my opportunity. Definitely needs a better mount. I did lose some signal when I was a long way out. This is not the way you should mount your antenna, kids. But if you found this useful, leave a like and a comment down below, and let me know if you want to see this hooked up with full Lua telemetry on a Taranis radio. Have you seen enough videos of that? Or is this one just going to be a little bit different and you want to see how to get it all wired and get that working so you can control your VTX? This or the X, one or the other. Until next time, remember, the power of drones compels you. The power of drones compels you.